Chiefs Kingdom. Don't have my headphones in. Welcome into the AP Breakdown. That is what I like to call this weekly rambling that I do of the Chiefs' previous game. I look at the Chiefs' film, especially offense. I just like looking at offense. That's what I know the best. You know, I know I can look at defense if anyone has followed me, but you know, I want to break down the offense, and it feels appropriate after the 22-19 loss in Denver that puts us 5-5 in Chiefs Kingdom. We haven't been here in a while in this kind of point where it doesn't feel like the division's realistically in reach unless Denver chokes down the stretch, which there's no reason to think they will. They have a great team, and they put it on a show Sunday. But before I go any further, I guess I should make sure anyone that's new to the program, I am Ron Kopp Jr., contributing editor at arrowheadpride.com, formerly the lead analyst. Would love to get my guy Caleb on here soon, and we will. We'll get together on this. It's a fresh thing. But either way, I want to bring it to y'all every week. And today we will be looking at how the offense flopped in Denver. And let's get right into it. I'm going to pull up the second play of the game. It's a 1st and 10. And the reason I bring this play up is because I don't know much, but I will listen to what Patrick tells me when he messes up, Patrick Mahomes. And this is one of those plays that he shared with us exactly how, what he did to maybe this play didn't get necessarily executed the way it should have been. And there's a few ways that was. So let's pull it up. This is 1st and 10 from the first drive of the game, second play of the game. Let me get it in the right format for the people. So, again, 1st and 10. We're in a shotgun. And basically what this comes to be is the play design is really just to get Kelsey into space. As you're going to see, he's that black route, right, on the crosser. That linebacker, he has to respect the flat and the running back over here. He has to respect that, and so he does very clearly. And X his speed takes the corner out of the picture on that side, and Kelsey's open. But what Mahomes does, and this is what he talked about post-game, is he saw the safety here, how he was sitting. And based on X's speed, he knew he had a play to make. Safety's sitting pretty, and it's a one high look, right? So it's not there's not a backside safety he has to worry about. It's a one high safety look. The backside corner is going to be occupied with whatever the receiver's got going on over here, which is something, shorter underneath, right? So there's no backside threat, to take away, that long bomb. Once he's past the safety, it's a touchdown, right? It's all the way to the end zone. So what Mahomes sees here when he drops back is this safety, the one high safety. He could have drove on this a lot harder, but he does eventually drive on it, right? Way after the fact. But really what he just sees is that the safety is just, not necessarily respecting X's speed as much as kind of being this middle of the field, take away the post safety. He's really looking underneath, not really respecting what X has to offer on this post route. And so that's why Mahomes takes the risk. Not the risk, maybe. But to some of y'all, it is a risk, right? Or I guess it just is a risk in general. This is an interesting talking point here where, I shared this play on Twitter with the quote, Patrick Mahomes telling you that exactly what happened, what I just told you. I did not make any of that up. I should probably pull up his exact wording here. Let me do it real quick. So on this play, he tells you that I knew that he was going to have a chance down the field. The play was designed for Trav. I think Trav was wide open, but you have these alerts on your plays and how the safety was sitting with Xavier Worthy's speed. I knew that he was going to have a chance down the field. I just got to give him that chance. I mean, that's what he said. And so basically he's admitting that he sacrificed the primary target on this play, Travis Kelce, who does come open, catch and run down the sideline. That player coming on him is probably going to, the safety coming down on him, I should say, is probably going to catch him by, maybe the 35, the 30, who knows, Trav, throws it back a little bit. But the point of this play is we want Mahomes to take this throw. I would be probably in this same situation telling you that, hey, no matter what the situation, well, no matter what the result was Sunday, if he throws this to Kelsey, hey, you see how that safety was playing Kelsey? He had a chance to hit Worthy. He took that chance. This is an alert in the play. And he just didn't make the throw. And that's like a whole different story, which I'm not going to come here and speculate or, be able to tell you really necessarily, honestly, why his mechanics are whatever they are on deep balls. You can kind of see it here. He kicks the leg out instead of just kind of following straight forward through. I should probably show you some comparisons. The Eagles game comes to mind against the throw to Tyquan Thornton at the very end when it was kind of garbage time touchdown throw deep down the field. If you watch that throw, his mechanics are much cleaner. He loads up, and that front, he's not whipping out the front leg like this. This is definitely kind of a kind of like, oh shit, I got it. Shit. Let me make sure I get my stuff correct. Okay, sorry, y'all. Always something. Always something. Chiefs and me. Always something. No, okay. Sorry about that, y'all. But really what this tells you, or really what I get, I guess, from this play, when I guess I was talking about his mechanics, right? That's just something with him that I feel like we do see over and over. And it's like not something that any of us can really say much more about, I think we can all just say that he should have hit this throw. I think that's all you can say about this. It's hard to blame what the offense is when on the second play of the game, they generate a 70-yard touchdown pretty much for Xavier Worthy. And we can't execute it. And, the two plays following that were both incompletions. One of them, and I could show them, but, I'm going to leave at 7:30 here. We're going to go live with, I should tell you all this. I'm going to go live with Rocky and Kramer on the Veach show. So join us at 7:30. I'm going to be getting out here by then. But I will tell you on the two plays after that play I just showed you, Noah Gray doesn't settle necessarily where Mahomes expected him to in the intermediate part of the field over the middle. That would have been a huge play. I think that was more on Noah than Mahomes, so that sucks. And then third down, right, Mahomes loads up again, has Tyquan down the right sideline. And for whatever reason, man, just a little too far. And, I see some people, pointing out that, hey, Mahomes always comes out early in the game with maybe a little more to, a little juice on his throws. Maybe the offense needs to, make sure, get him some if he's Patrick Mahomes, he's the greatest quarterback we've all seen, which we all know he is. Like, you can't give him that excuse. Like, he's got to make those throws. He's got to hit those throws. And so that was just kind of the start to the game. But, the offense, there were a lot of things happening in this game. But, it was a loss. And so I'm going to be going over the negatives and what Patrick Mahomes talked about. I think that, that, again, I talk about that because I like to, again, I don't like to pretend like I know more than I do, and that's not that much, it's really just, I want to hear from Patrick what he thinks about plays. And on this play, which I will share with y'all, his interception in the red zone, which actually followed a pick six that, got called back. We got a little fortunate there. This is an interception in the red zone. And what Patrick Mahomes talked about in the post game was basically just that. And his words were that he got 29 to come to him, and then he just didn't put enough air on it. I kind of, Patrick, I guarantee you, and this is right after the game, so he hasn't watched the film or, necessarily or, that closely. I would almost contest with him that once he watched it back, he realized like he didn't really get 29 necessarily. And if he did put enough air on it to get it over him, like if he did have enough loft on this pass to get it over him, and I'll put it from the end zone angle too, like isn't that other defender closing in pretty well? I mean, getting pretty close. I think that's a really tough pass to make. I think he does, and he ended his quote by telling us, he needs to settle for a field goal. So he understands that he needed to settle for a field goal in this moment. This was too risky of a play. But I guess my thing is, in his post-game quote, I'll try to take this out here. Here we go. In his post-game quote, he says he got 29 to go to him, basically saying like, I got 29 to come up to me. And so that it expanded that throwing window. That's not, I mean, him taking one step, if anything, you fell for the bait. That's how I feel about it. If 15 kind of fell for the bait here, 29 gives him one step towards him, and look how tight of an angle throw this is. Like, where are you fitting this in? Even if you're lofting it in, look at where 31 is coming in. Chris Abrams' drain. If he really does put enough air on this to get it over 29 and then 25's hands, that's a lot more loft than he puts on it. So that takes the ball a lot more time to get there. And Mitchell might be out of bounds at that point. Like, the speed of the game is so fast. I think this was just, there was just nowhere to go with this ball. I mean, I really feel like if he puts it any higher with velocity, it's just way over Mitchell's head because it's not a tight enough window. Also, shout out Tyquan Thornton right here. Shout out Tyquan Thornton right here. Absolute legend of a play, honestly. If this ball somehow stayed inbounds, and Patrick's trailing, ready to recover it because he wants to strip it himself if he can. That was absolutely almost a legendary play right there. Tyquan is definitely earning his reps, in my opinion. I could show his deep bomb. It was really a very simple play, man coverage. Mahomes gave him a chance. Mahomes doesn't give maybe him enough chances, or the offense just doesn't give him enough chances. But again, once you escape the pocket here, it's 3rd and long. Just probably throw it away, settle for the points, get those 3 points, and that really would have helped in the second half, obviously. And again, this return doesn't help either, right, in terms of being able to, have the ball. Although I think there was some play that took away most of that return yardage, or penalty, I should say. Excuse me. All right, so that was, another just a play where you wish your all-time Hall of Fame quarterback just, makes the play, right? It's not. It is critical of Mahomes, I guess, but like he's probably being critical of himself, guys. Like, anyone that wants to contest anyone that's pointing this stuff out and being like, this is on 15, like, he is doing it to himself. I just talked about his quotes. I did just kind of go against his quote, but I would tell you, I hope someone asked about his interception on Wednesday, because I guarantee he would tell you that there was just nowhere to go with that throw. But here is the real kicker from the last drive of the game. 1st down. Let me get it up. And so, he talked about this being a missed opportunity as a drive starter, right? A drive starter is not just like an 8-yard run or something. Like, a drive starter is a chunk for completion that moves the sticks and maybe even a little more, right? He has the opportunity right here on the last drive of the game. This is 4 minutes left, 1st and 10, first drive of the, first play of this possession. And what he tells us after the game, and I say us, sorry, I mean, I'm not there, but I listen to all the press conferences. What he tells the media after the game is that I went to Kelsey, tried to fit it to him underneath, but I probably should have waited, and Hollywood would have been coming open, is paraphrasing what he said. And if you look at Hollywood's route, simple corner route, gets the corner to turn his hips, so it really creates that separation once he breaks out. Like, that's what you want, man. That's what you want. And really, I'll show it from the end zone angle. You can, I think the offensive linemen out there would tell you, or, I think they would agree with me, but maybe the non-offensive linemen out there would tell us that maybe the pressure here is what allowed Mahomes, or, forced Mahomes to take the underneath. There's no pressure, fellas. I think I saw, Caliendo, yes, does that flash where, that can flash in Mahomes' eyes and discourage him from throwing in that throwing lane, right? That's where Hollywood is. But this is 1st and 10 of the last drive of the game. We need a vintage Mahomes drive. Hold on to the ball, climb that pocket, and hit Hollywood, man. I don't know. I think that's pretty clear, especially with Hufanga all over Kelsey. Yes, he has that outside leverage, and so you feel like you can get an inside leverage pass right there, right? But he is watching Kelsey like a hawk from the snap. They're in a one high shell, so you're gonna get that. You're gonna have a chance with Hollywood on that kind of route. That's exactly what that kind of route is meant for, is that look. So again, he admits it after the game that he missed this. He should have thrown it to Hollywood Brown. This is an incompletion. Huge setback when it could have been, a much better situation for them, right? I mean, you get that play, you're living good. You're living well, I should say, grammatically correct. But then you have this play or these last two plays, excuse me. These are going to be the last two plays of the game where I already have it forwarded. We're going to come out on 2nd and 10. And I know I've seen people highlight this. So, I think we've all seen this. But let's look a little deeper at what exactly the Chiefs are trying to do here on this 2nd and 10, coming out with 3 tight ends, 13 personnel, Rashee Rice at running back, and Kareem Hunt at receiver. Now, for anyone who joined me last week, you remember me talking about Rashee Rice at running back and this Chiefs being able to have a positionless offense. Well, I wasn't really expecting it to be done in this fashion. Excuse me. In terms of a 3 tight end look late in the game. I mean, this is red zone stuff. This is 3rd and short stuff. Like, this is not 2nd and 10. Like, you just have Mahomes drop back with your downfield passing routes. And anyway, and the offensive line was holding up all day. That's one thing I should make sure everyone understands. I mean, Josh Simmons was playing very well. Jawan Taylor was holding a little bit, and he was getting away with it because that's what he does. Jawan Taylor, for as much crap as he gets, he just gets away with he's a savvy vet. I mean, he's been a savvy vet, I guess, his entire time in Kansas City. He's still not even that old of a player, but I mean, he just gets away with it. And sometimes he looks ugly while he's not getting away with it as much. But anyway, all that to say, the offensive line was playing well. So on 2nd and 10, you come out with 3 tight ends, one of them being Bobby Tonyan. Shout out, former Green Bay Packer great Bobby Tonyan, Robert Tonyan Jr. And Kareem's out wide at a receiver. And what their really what their intention here is to dictate what the Broncos do, right? And they do. The Broncos get into a 5-man front. They bring up their 3, they're in a traditional 3-4 setting all of a sudden, right? Instead of a 4-man front. They get that because of the personnel. The Broncos match that personnel, match this lineup with this formation, right? It's a 3 tight end in, they're all in line. And so you're matching it with this 5-man front. And with Rashee in the backfield in this kind of special package, you do get Hufanga kind of, really saying, hey, I really got to make sure I'm out here. I really got to make sure I'm paying attention to this. Your strong safety is out of the, of the middle of the field like that. In theory, okay, like, sure, it worked, I guess, but then you realize that you have 3 tight ends running the routes and they're all in the same part of the field. Like, where is the spacing? And it's because they're 3 tight ends. Like, you need speed in all of your pass routes, and especially this kind of just basic, like, oh, let's just run out and kind of find space. Like, they're so slow. They're tight ends. They're slow out of their stance, and they're slow in kind of their like Robert Tonyan is supposed to be the primary route here. Okay, so he is the furthest tight end out on the left here. So you're gonna see him come up. He's kind of supposed to be in this middle of the field, where like maybe these underneath defenders are really tight on Kelsey, really tight on Gray, and so they come up really hard. And so, Bobby Tonyan, he's gonna pop out here, and that's what Matt Nagy, Andy Reid called on 2nd and 10. This is 2nd and 10. And so you can maybe argue that Mahomes should just throw it to Noah Gray and live for the next down. He pump fakes the other way to Kelsey, hoping that he can get Gray more open. And I mean, Gray is as open as he's going to get in this kind of play, but he just doesn't like what he sees. And I don't blame him necessarily, but you do probably just have to throw to Gray in the tight window there. We'll see it from the other angle. I think he wants to try to, he even gets the middle linebacker to be influenced to Kelsey's side. Like, you kind of just have to, like, if that's your, and maybe, again, I should back up. He is, the main route here is Bobby Tonyan. So his main objective here is to get Bobby Tonyan, in this 3rd or in this 2nd level of the defense when the underneath defenders, bite on Kelsey and Gray underneath. You do got to give credit to John Franklin Myers here of the Broncos for getting through good old Mike Caliendo. We missed you, Kingsley, in the second half. Shout out Kingsley Suamataia. But yeah, I still think once you maybe kind of see that pressure, maybe flash in your eyes, you do just kind of have to, I don't know. It's tough. It's all around bad right there. The pressure really was in his face that maybe was more than I realized. Almost made the play here. Shout out. Again, bad play call though. Just a bad play call. I in my opinion, I don't know. Maybe, and again, people can tell me I'm dead wrong. I don't care. This is my opinion. Just seems like a bad play call when you have 13 personnel and a special running back receiver switcheroo personnel on 2nd and 10 in a do or die game. All right, so we have 3rd and 10 now, and so the Broncos now can get funky with their front because it's 3rd and 10. We didn't get any yards on the first 2 plays of the do or die drive, and now we're here. And so they will, mug up both A gaps. They'll have 6-man front. They're gonna show 6 pressuring, and so, hey, what do you got to do? You kind of just go big on big, right? Where, hey, it's just the 5 linemen are going to block the 5 immediate threats, and then Kareem's going to get the other guy that Creed doesn't get coming, from the middle, right? Because Creed can't take both A gap blitzers. Well, Broncos fool them really bad. And the end zone angle is obviously the better way to look at this, and we'll keep it on the end zone angle. You're just going to see it's a basic kind of, hey, we're going to threaten with both A gaps, and then one of us is going to drop out, and we're going to bring a slot from the corner from the slot. And really, kind of what happens here, unfortunately, like, I don't know. I mean, Creed, his initial steps kind of make Kareem feel like he has to take that blitzer from the left, and he would be right. And he kind of does have that quick coffee house, right? That quick coffee house technique to kind of for a second maybe think he's not blitzing. So it's just good technique by the Broncos here. And so Kareem does have to step up, or does he feels like he needs to step up. But that's the thing, is if Creed maybe he doesn't take those initial steps and immediately gets onto the left, which doesn't really, again, the Broncos just play this so well that he kind of has to take those initial steps. So again, this is where the Denver kind of just wins. Kareem probably can get back to the edge quicker if he sees Creed get on that block quicker, right? And so it's really just a good play by Denver and just a crappy situation to put themselves in 3rd and 10. You never want to be in 3rd and 10 in a do or die situation, no matter how good you feel about Mahomes. Again, he used to be Mr. 3rd and long, but situations like this are kind of, they're hard to avoid. On 3rd and 10, I should say, in terms of like having kind of this little bit of miscommunication. I think Mitch said needed to be ID'd better from the get-go is really just kind of the way to put it, right? Like Kareem just needed to ID quicker that only one of them was coming. Creed was going to take one of them, and so he needs to stay back and protect the edge. I feel like it's easy to say after the fact, but in the heat of the moment, that's a good play by Denver. So you got to give him credit there. Really an all-time defense. You got to say it is the sack numbers are ridiculous. And so you got to give them credit for coming out and really playing an excellent game. But I do think the Chiefs had, times where they could have executed better. And I'm going to give you one more before I get out of here and go join Rocky and Kramer on their show. You guys should come join us. I don't know. It'll probably be on Twitter Live somewhere or YouTube. We'll post it. Check on my TL. But this is 3rd and 2. I'm going to get to here on the second to last drive of the game. I meant to get to it earlier, honestly. Not in chronological order tonight. But this is important, and it's the 3rd and 2 where Brashard Smith is the intended target. And it's very simple what happens. I didn't draw on this play, so forgive me if y'all like my little doodles to point out what's happening most of the time. This is very simple, and the Chiefs have run this so many times in this situation. So it's almost hard to blame the play calling on this one because it is when you talk about, you just need to run the ball, and I get it. Under center, run the ball is probably the better option, probably the easier option here. And with a rookie running back too, like this, and for what I'm about to show you is why a rookie running back may be a mistake in this situation. Basically, all this is the Chiefs. Mahomes is reading man or zone. If it's man, he's hoping that one of these slants is going to get open, right? You're going to see, is it Juju and Rasheed? Or no, excuse me, is that? Yeah, that's Juju and Rasheed, excuse me. Yeah. So Juju and Rasheed is hoping one of them gets open if it's man. But no, they go out in zone. And so if it's zone, really, Brashard Smith just needs to chill. That's the best way to put it. Because this zone defender, even if he doesn't have this much cushion, even if he doesn't give him this much cushion where you see the Broncos corner completely bail, right? Like, you still want to sit and get the ball and then face him and try to make the play instead of running into him and getting the ball thrown to you as he is able to recover. Does that make sense to everybody? Because if it was man coverage, he would be getting kind of more manned up, and this guy would actually be coming onto him, getting up on him, and he would actually be going deep like he does here and going vertical, trying to get past the man coverage defender. Mahomes, in that case, Mahomes puts it more of a loft, right? Kind of like we've seen it with Damian Williams in the past, right? Jerick McKinnon, maybe. We've seen that kind of pass where in man coverage, this running back does take it up the sideline. But when you're in zone coverage like they are here, and again, they tried to threaten man coverage. You can see pre-snap, 40 goes out with the motion. That might indicate to 24, a rookie running back, hey, I got man coverage. I know what I'm doing. I don't have to think about it again. That is kind of maybe the situation. And so again, you have to give credit to Denver. But if you're not a rookie running back, or if maybe if you just are more experienced in general, have run this play before. I don't think I've ever seen them run, Brashard Smith this exact play in this situation. Maybe you would read it out further, because I think he does just key man pre-snap. You see that motion? That's how you usually can key man coverage, right? That linebacker comes out with you. He doesn't come out all the way, but it's a quick motion. So the ball is snapped by the time 40 moves back, and so to him, he could 24 might just kind of be what do you call it? Eye blinders, whatever they're called, whatever the horses wear. That was smooth, Ron. That was smooth. Anyway, 3rd and 2, incompletion. Just very, very rough, because this should just be a very easy completion to Brashard if he settles, if he doesn't run up the sideline. He needs to just settle more at the line of scrimmage and kind of wait for the ball. Just kind of wait for the ball. Look how much room he would have had to run. If he catches the ball here, like he settles, catches the ball, the corner is so bailed out, deep and inside. He could have really made a huge play here. He really could have. He really could have. If he settles, right? Because he can make a guy miss in space. I trust him. This is Chris Abrams' drain, isn't it? It's not some all-pro corner. Shout out my Missouri guys. We know he's a stud from Mizzou, but he would have been nice to give him that opportunity. And that's just where it was a mix of a whole bunch of things on Sunday in Denver. Appreciate you guys joining me. I'm going to leave you there because I'm going to get the rest of my takes out with Crame Dog and Rocky over at Beach Season. So make sure you go listen to that. Shout out anyone joining tonight. Go Chiefs. Got a fun little challenge ahead of us as Chiefs fans. See if we can keep our sanity the rest of the season. All right, y'all. Have a good night. Talk to y'all later.